It's me, Gwendolyn, from the Gwendolyn Show, and I heard that it's someone's very special birthday. I heard that it's Janis's birthday, and it's the second anniversary of her turning 25. Happy birthday! Everyone take a drink of your drink. Now, in honor of Janis's birthday, I would like to tell you a story. Are you ready? All right. So one morning, Janis was waking up in the morning, just like a lot of people wake up in the morning. She stretched it a little bit, and then she got out of bed, and she was like, oh, I can't even be awake. I gotta go get my coffee. And so she stumbled out of the bedroom, kicking aside a pile of laundry. She's not gonna do that laundry. She hates doing laundry. And she made her way down to the kitchen. Meanwhile, her dogs were jumping at her because they were so excited that she was awake. Their names are Angus and DeFlanders, like a place or a Simpsons character, but with the D-E in front of it. Anyway, she was like, doggies, go away, I need my coffee. So finally she got to the kitchen. She turned on the coffee. She looked around and she was like, well, it's my birthday and I don't have to go to my office job, so I think I'm going to go shopping at Target. Then the coffee was brewed, and Janis took the cup and held it to her nose and had a huge sniff. Oh, just smelling the coffee perked her right up. So she sat down to drink her coffee. It was a beautiful day outside. She could see through the windows. She thought about all the cool things that she could buy at Target. You know how when you go to Target and you're like, I'm going to get 2 things, and you leave with 7 and none of them are the things that you came with? Just like that. But this was her birthday and she could go to Target and get whatever she wanted. Gosh darn it. Anyway, Janis was thinking about Target and daydreaming, and then she was like, where did I put my Target bags? Those reusable bags. Wonder where they are. She looked all around the room. She couldn't see her reusable Target bags. She looked far and she looked near, and she looked over here, but she did not look underneath her arm that was leaning on the back of the chair, because the Target bags were hanging right behind her. She completely forgot. Oops. Oh well. She finished her coffee, then she got dressed, and she got ready to go to Target. She went back into the kitchen, and she picked up her Target bags from the back of the chair. And she was like, Target is gonna be great. Suddenly, she heard big, loud rumbles coming from above her. Brr, brr. I think I just heard one. Brr, brr, brr. What is that? She said, looking at the ceiling. Hope it's not that badger again. But no, ladies and gentlemen, it was not a badger. It was something completely different, you guys. You want to guess what it is? I'll wait. Got it? Probably not. It was a herd of hippopotamuses. I know. See, what happened is that they were transferring the hippopotamuses from one zoo to the other zoo, and so they had to do it by helicopter because reasons. And so they had the helicopter, you know, helicopters, and they had a little sling under it, and so they put the sling on under the hippopotamuses and lifted them off the ground. So there was a fleet of helicopters carrying hippopotamuses from the zoo over here to the zoo over there. They were exchanging animals. It was bring your animal exchange to work day. So they were exchanging animals. So the hippos were going to the zoo over there, but that zoo over there was giving them walruses back, and that's kind of same. Walrus, when you think about it, walrus and a hippo kind of the same. It's just hippos got legs and walruses got flappers. Anyway, it was a herd of hippopotamuses. Everyone take a drink of your drink. It was a herd of hippopotamuses. Did you know that a group of hippopotamuses is called a bloat? That's #science. I'm an educational show. Anyway, Janis didn't know it was hippopotamuses yet. She was just like, what's all that banging? That sounds like a really big badger. But again, it was not the badger. Badger was on vacation in Rio. Partying it up and dancing around. And wearing a headdress just like this one. Feathers. That's where feathers live, is Rio, right? I don't know. I'm not from here. Anyway, hippopotamuses. They kept banging and they kept banging. Boom, boom, boom. And the whole house was shaking. And Angus was all like barking about it. And De Flanders, oh, no, it's Ravine. I had notes. De Flanders is a kind of animal dog. And Ravine is the other one. It's Agnes and Ravine. Everyone take a drink of your drink. I hope you brought a lot of drinks because I messed that up, but it's fine because anyway, it doesn't matter. Flanders was not a dog. Flanders is a guy on The Simpsons or a place. It's Ravine. Ravine is the dog. You got it? Good. Okay. Ravine was like, what's happening? And just staring at the ceiling in confusion. And also confused because Ravine wasn't in the story until just now. Agnes was barking. Angus was barking. Agnes and Angus. The N's and the G's are switched. That's linguistics. #science. I'm an educational show. Anyway, Janis was like worried because the whole house was shaking. So she reached behind the door and she got her softball bat. Did you know her team came in 3rd place? Yeah. So she's like really ready for the softball to happen. She's going to go coach some of those people. And she stood around. She looked around the house. And then she looked back out the back door and the back windows and the door and the back. So she looked into the backyard. And what did she see there? Flock of peacocks. Yeah, did you know that a hippopotamus's only natural predator is a peacock? Yeah, that's true. And so the peacocks were there. They heard the call and the thumping of the hippos, and they were like, we gotta get them hippos. And so they showed up. They all flooped in. Floop, 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 floop. They had combat helmets on and goggles, and they had, like those lassos on a pole that you put on the animal neck, and then it's kind of a leash, but not really. They had those, but the really big ones, because hippopotamuses. And so they all land in the yard, and they're looking up at the hippopotamuses on the roof, and one of the peacocks blew a whistle, and he was like, yo, hippopotamuses, get down here. So the hippopotamuses were like, all right. So they jumped down because they were like, we're bigger than peacocks, we can totes win. But peacocks, they have grippy feet. Hippopotamuses more like flat feet, no joints down there. So peacocks, they can manipulate the lasso stick thing, and they were like, come on over here, we got cookies. And hippopotamus is like, we love cookies. So they walked over to the peacocks. Meanwhile, Janis is watching all this happen. At this point, she's just dropped her bat because she was just crazy impressed about what all was going on. And then she was like, this reminds me of the time that I was visiting Canada and the mooses were running around, and then the African condor that was also visiting Canada swooped in and landed on the moose's antlers and picked up the moose and flew away with it. She's like, this just reminds me of that Canada time, except there's less maple syrup. Anyway, so the hippos were going over peacocks, and the peacocks were like, come closer, come closer. They didn't do this with both because they only have 2 feeties. So if they were doing this with both, they'd have to be floating. Peacocks don't float in the air, generally. They get sprinkled with pixie dust, maybe, but not right now in this story. Anyway, hippos went closer. Peacocks were like, come eat this cookie that's awkwardly on the other side of this loop. And the hippos are dumb. They're big heads, tiny brains. And they went through and they were like, these cookies. And then the peacocks were like, haha, we caught you. You're coming with us. And then they had a truck show up. It was like the hot dog one. The weenie truck. You know that one. And it's long, but it's bigger on the inside. And so you can get like 5 hippos in it at the same time. That's how big it is on the inside. So they pushed the hippos in. They gave them more cookies. And they looked back to the house. They saw Janis still watching from the window. And they're like, see ya, lady. And then they went away. And Janis was like, whoa, I need a second cup of coffee. So she went. She made a second cup of coffee. And then she sat down. And she's like, what did I just see? Hippos and peacocks, and the peacock had a whistle, and the hippos jumped from my roof. Why were there hippos? I hope they didn't do any damage. I have to deal with that. And then Josh came in and he was like, hey honey, how you doing? And she's like, they're just hippos on the thing. And he was like, oh, you're so pretty, you just are the best at making up stories. And she's like, no, I saw it, ask Ravine. And Ravine was like, I saw it too. Did you know that Ravine can talk? Ravine won't tell you that they can talk, so don't ask them because it won't work. Anyway, so Ravine's like, I saw it too. And Josh was like, what? And he was like, happy birthday. And then he gave Janis a cupcake. And she's like, oh, thanks, I'm gonna go to Target. And he was like, oh, cool, you love Target. And she was like, I'm gonna go to Target and buy some stuff. So she went and so she said goodbye to Josh, and then she was like, I'm going to Target. Because when you think about going to Target, sometimes the only thing you can think about until you get to Target is how bad you want to get to Target. So she got to Target, and she's like, this is my favorite place. And they were she went in Target, and then in Target, they have some places, some states, you can't buy alcohol in Target, but this state you can. And they were doing craft beer samples. So Janis was like, I will take one of those. And then she went so she got craft beers. It was her birthday. She can do whatever she wants. And so she like took the craft beers and she's like, that's delicious. And then they were like, cool, have a great day. And she's like, yeah. And so she walked around the store and she went to the hat section. She got a hat and put it on her head and then some sunglasses. And then she went back and walked past the craft brew tasting, and he was like, do you want a hi person I've never seen before, would you like to taste this craft brew? And she's like, well, yes, I would. And so she had another one. She's like, oh, that's very unlike anything I've ever had before. And then she went back to the hat section, put the hat and the glasses away, because you got to put stuff away. Then she went to the kids section, and she got like a floofy headband from the little girl section and a sparkly purse. And she like walked past the guy again, and the guy was like, hey, do you want to try this craft brew? And she was like, yeah, I think I would like to, please. And he's like, wait a minute, you're wearing some very young looking stuff. Are you sure you're old enough to drink? And she was like, oh, you're so sweet. And she was old enough to drink. So then she got to have two, because she was like, it's actually my birthday. I'm turning 25. Times two. She said that last part quiet. And then so he was like, oh my gosh, happy birthday, you can have 2 craft brews, and here's a coupon for $10 off a 6-pack of this craft brew. And she was like, thank you so much. So she drank the drinks, not at the same time, that's a mess, one and then the other one, and threw the little cup away. And then she like went back to the kids section, put the sparkly floof thing down and the purse, and then she went back and got 4 craft brew things, because she was having a party later, and then or gonna give some in case hippopotamuses showed up, or no, actually I take that back, in case the peacocks showed up and she wanted to thank them, but she was hoping they wouldn't, because she wanted to drink the craft brew for herself and maybe with Josh, and also maybe her kids, but I don't remember how old her kids are, so they might not be able to drink, and it's her birthday anyway, she doesn't have to let them do anything anyway. So she put them in her reusable bags. She drove all the way home. When she got home, she was like, this day has been great, but weird. And then she walked back down the hall to her bedroom. She went past the office and she looked in the door and she's like, someday I'll clean that, but today is not that day. So she went back and she's like, I'm gonna lay down and take a nap. And the dogs jumped up on the bed and they cuddled with her. Argus, oh, it's Argus. It's not Agnes or Angus. It's you know, R's and N's, they look the same. Also, take a drink of your drink. Anyway, Ravine got that one right finally. They went and slept on the bed with her. They took a nap, she put on some nice music, and then she took a nap. And when she woke up, it was still the same day, and her craft beer was cold, so then she could have a craft beer and look out at her backyard and look at where the grass was all smashed flat from those hippos. The end. Hope you liked your story, Janis. I thought it was pretty epic. I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy birthday.